The decision to post development updates for Project Zomboid on a monthly instead of bi-monthly basis has allowed the devs to share with us so much more new stuff that hasn't ever been talked about before. In this one, we get a recap on the crafting system revamp, an in-depth look at 3 of the new professions in the game, and our first deep dive on the new basements being added. Beginning with the recap on what the new crafting overhaul is supposed to do, the first thing is that it is meant to give Project Zomboid a more feature-rich endgame. This means that there will be a lot more stuff to do and build once you reach the point where you normally would have gotten bored. Another thing it will do is allow for servers to run indefinitely without having to wipe or respawn loot. This is going to be so awesome and make it much more realistic. When you run out of things to loot, you'll be able to use raw resources to craft the things you need instead. It would also create new post-apocalyptic professions for when it's been years after the start of the outbreak and jobs like burger flipper wouldn't make sense anymore. These new professions would help keep a community of survivors running with the various things that they can craft. Tying into these new professions, the new crafting system also aims to make more player cooperation in multiplayer. The jobs will interact in ways that benefit each other and will also encourage trading and other interesting player interactions. The ability to craft things from raw materials and all of the new building options means that the crafting overhaul will also provide a framework for players who want to focus more on community building and things like that instead of zombie survival. Lastly, the new crafting systems and tech trees will open up a whole new world of possibilities for the modding community. Just imagine what could come of this. Next, let's take a close look at 3 new professions that are being added. The first one is blacksmithing. This skill will allow you to work with metal and craft many things that used to be unobtainable outside of looting previously. You'll be able to get started by making a furnace and forge out of clay, and then make higher tiers of these later on. The first tier will be able to make things like nails and the tools required to produce the next tier. The second tier is made using stonemasonry. It also includes an anvil. You will of course be able to make steel and better tools on this tier, including sledgehammers. The next profession is pottery. There are all kinds of things you can make with this skill. You'll be using molds and kilns to accomplish this. Some of the things are paths, roofs, decorative items, and even clay or stone walls that are impenetrable to the zombies. Walls like that will of course require some balancing, so they note that you will need a lot of skill and effort to make them. The third profession they showcase is brewer. Besides the obvious usage of making alcohol, which like they said before they will be implementing more benefits and downsides to consuming, you can also use the brewing skill to preserve food by pickling. Moving on from that, it's time to check out the new basements coming to the game. There will be 2 types of basements apparently. Permanent ones, which will always be at specific locations around the map, and randomized ones, which can show up in various locations and hold all kinds of things inside, ranging from normal basements to bunkers or panic rooms. They share this clip with us so that we can see what some of them will look like. Next, they show us some of the changes that have been made to modding. The following things have been made vanilla features. You can now change the load order of your maps and mods, which is extremely useful. There will also be an auto sort feature. You will be able to save and share presets of mod lists and their load order. They have put the Steam Workshop ID at the end of the mod IDs in order to resolve some file mismatch errors on servers. And they mention that they are actually working on a new modding API and modding guide for Build 42. After that, the blog continues on by showing us that you can now find buildings that have already been scavenged through. You'll find items all over the floor, broken stuff, and graffiti in these places. This is yet another thing that is sure to add to the immersion of the exploration in the game. They then tell us about a bunch more cool new items. There's a military radio backpack, new fluid containers such as canteens, and backpack sprayers for spraying crops while farming. Wrapping up the news with 2 last smaller and miscellaneous things, the sound team has just hit 50 total remastered music tracks to fit in with the new dynamic music system. And also, Build 42 will allow you to completely scrub away any grime, blood, and graffiti in that building you're trying to settle in with a new cleaning system. While we get played out by this special Halloween video that the devs have treated us to at the end, I just wanted to of course say thank you all once again for checking out the latest Project Zomboid news with me. I know I said in the last one that my next video would be the Mega Map 2.0, but I guess I lied about that. I actually forgot that this blog post was coming out, so here we are. Anyways, thanks again, and with any luck, the next video on this channel should be the Mega Map 2.0.